Hello, everybody out there. This is Dale Ray, and I am coming to you live from Houston, Texas. First, I want to give a shout out to all my folks out there in the Bay Area. I'm shouting out to you, baby. You could pass it on, start tagging somebody out there. I hope you're enjoying your day, and I love you for real. We want to talk a little bit about our Gaining Ground organization. And we are an intervention prevention program located in Houston, Texas, for troubled and at-risk youth who have difficulties or at risk of becoming violent offenders. We here at Gaining Ground are dedicated to empowering the troubled youth in the communities to ensure that they have a chance at a healthy start and at their future. And our programs will provide comprehensive and innovative programs that will challenge these youth to envision and to learn to navigate a course that can and will be rewarding and is characterized by achievement. I want to thank y'all today for joining me, and we have a great segment, and it's called Education Instead of Prison. You know, I remember many years ago when I went to prison and all I did was work out or go work in the kitchen. And oh yeah, they had a few activities that you could get involved in, like typing classes or artwork. But it wasn't enough to rehabilitate me. And today there needs to be serious programs implemented in the prisons if these men and women are to have a chance at making it when they are released, instead of running back to the only thing that they know, which is drugs, gangs, and violence. And I think society should focus more on education and inmate services. They will stand a good chance of staying free once they are released. But we in the United States focus on locking men and women up for petty crimes. And the state should use their resources to rehabilitate these small-time offenders. We can save a lot of money if we did this for everybody that's coming out. I want to say God bless y'all. Really, I want to thank y'all for joining me today. We got a great show. I need y'all to stay with me for a second. And we back. We're talking about education and instead of prison. And we at Gaining Ground want to partner with other organizations to help men and women sentenced to community service, that they get credit for taking classes like algebra and English. Instead of picking up trash, we need volunteers to come in and show the offender how to have real progress. And it does make sense to take advantage of opportunities to educate the offender. I did some homework and found out that 40% of offenders never finish high school, and including me. And then we have 44% of jail inmates didn't complete high school. That's really an eye-opener, folks. And the question I pose is that, isn't it better for us, both economically and public safety reasons, to stand together and implement programs so these men and women can get jobs? And I remember the prison was in full agreement on helping people in the old days, but things done changed now. It's a lot different. We must work together to generate change. And the government and states need to implement educational programs for these men and women. It's a means of rehabilitation and redirecting. Because from what I've observed, and when they are released, someone with the same skills they went in there before, they're going to come out the same way. And they're going to get involved with the same activities that took them there in the first place. But we must, as a society, develop programs and the tools these men and women need to stay free. And the vast majority of men and women I talk with who come out of prison don't have a high school diploma, much less a GED. And I personally believe that education can mean the difference between a life of crime and a productive life. There can also be a silver lining in this, because if the person in prison has kids on the outside, once they see that their mom or dad is getting their education while they are locked up, it should inspire them to send a message to them kids that if my dad or mom can do it while they locked up, I can also graduate. The more opportunities these men and women have while in prison to learn to value education, the more they can see possibilities for themselves when they are released. Stay with me. Let me say thank you to my beautiful niece out there. Thank you. Give me a clear sign, and I love you. Thank you for monitoring. You know, as I said, the more they can see possibilities for themselves when they are released. And to those offenders out there listening to Del Rey, hey, you can break the cycle of incarceration. And not just for yourself, but for our future generations. Let's go to our politicians and send a message that we need education instead of prison. You see, those in prison seldom get access to the education, the substance abuse programs, and most of all, job training skills. We must change what doesn't work. We have so much against us when we are released from prison. When I say we, because I'm an ex-felon too, we are discriminated against for jobs, housing, and the housing and state assistance programs. It's so sad that without a reliable resource of income, many offenders pass along their status as outcasts to their children. There is a great program that I know about in San Francisco that I'm so proud I was a part of when I was there. It's called Delancey Street. And they offer peer support to those returning back into the community, job skill classes. And I say to them, why can't all states do this? Why can't every state implement these programs in the prisons? So men and women in the system who've committed nonviolent offenses stay out of prison and get the training that they need. And you know what? Locking them up for petty offenses is not going to make us any safer. And here is something for you, that if you are young and a black male with no education, no diploma, it's worse. Because it's bad. And yeah, I do get emotional because I'm really caring after 12 years of clean and sober. And despite this reality, we not only continue to feed the prison system at the expense of funding education, but we've also blurred the lines separating the educational and criminal justice system. And now we look around and see that police have become a strong presence, even in the elementary schools, in the middle schools, and in the high schools. We have changed so much in the past decade, and the behavior that took a kid to the principal office can now mean a trip to the jailhouse. And I want to speak to the ex-offenders for a few minutes. I've been through so much in my life, and yeah, I'm an ex-offender too. 20 years of crack addiction and in and out of prison. But it took those events to really discover my life's mission. I encourage you not to give up. And if you are coming out of prison, you may even feel that you have no power to reinvent yourself. But you could do it. You do have it. And you can do it. And even when you've served time and your daily moves were monitored, you can still make it out here. And stop thinking that no one will hire you because of your record. And I got to tell you that when God opens a door, nobody could close it. That's what I know and believe with all my heart and soul. And as long as you abide by the conditions of your release, and as long as you work on becoming a law-abiding citizen, then yeah, you're going to be all right. Yeah, you can make it. There is nothing wrong with being a good person. Spending time in prison or being a former crack addict, I might not be the usual career path. It may not be the usual career path of a motivational speaker like me, but I wouldn't want to do anything else. And all I want to do is to inspire, to encourage. And I want to be an agent for change. And being instrumental to help someone gives me great joy, especially when I can help stop a person from going down that road of destruction. And I have so much compassion for the ex-offender, especially when he or she comes home and when they find it hard to survive on the outside. Because the first hurdle is finding a legal paying job. Because most employers aren't willing to give us a second chance. And my story is no different. Because I've also been turned away from jobs. So this is my job today, to motivate and to send a message to the ex-offender to stay on the straight and narrow. You're going to be all right. There are a few ex-offenders who danced on the wrong side of the law. Those Don King, Robert Downey Jr., and even Judge Mathis. But like me, they have chosen to reinvent themselves. And you can too. You can negate your past behavior and upgrade your quality of life. It's up to you. And nothing is impossible for anybody who wants to have a different outcome for their life. It took me a long time to come out of that alley. And it took just as longer to stop smoking crack. And so self-improvement isn't easy sometimes. It takes time and effort. But if you don't give up, you'll get there. And the most important thing I want to say to those men and women re-entering back into society, get rid of every negative person in your life, whether they are family members or so-called friends. In fact, anybody that tells you that you can achieve your goal, drop them like a hot potato. And if you are an ex-offender and you are serious about changing your lifestyle, if you want a quality life for yourself and your family, then you have to be able to identify and understand what real friendship means. And never did I get a visit from so-called friends when I was in prison. I received a visit from my mom and a little bit about our organization. First, you can go to our website, www.gainingground.us. And we're a nonprofit organization. And it's right down our alley because many of our volunteers have been through the system. And today we give back. I want y'all to stay with me.